And as we continue our deep dive into the health of Metro Detroit's waterways, we're talking about invasive species. This morning, we'll touch on 3, all of them very easy to spot and unfortunately also easily spread. 2 of them are plants. You may even have them in your water gardens at home. And then there is the red swamp crayfish. These guys have been plaguing Michigan waterways since 2017. I stopped by a pond in Novi where in just a couple weeks, seasonal traps will go in to catch them. But as you're about to see, it's still an uphill battle.
Since 2017, I think they've captured 34,000 crayfish out of it.
34,000 just from this pond alone?
Pretty much. This is kind of our ground zero.
Statewide, Lieutenant Michael Fagan with the Michigan DNR says they've trapped 150,000. They're bright red with raised spots. They almost look like mini lobsters and nothing like Michigan's native crayfish.
Obviously, trapping is very effective. We're getting a lot, but it's not effective in eradicating them.
The DNR has tried chemical and CO2 treatments to coax these critters out of our waterways, but nothing's done the trick so far. They compete with our native crayfish and further bank erosion by burrowing deep, sometimes feet, into the ground. Just in the last few years, they've made their way to neighboring ponds on the other side of Haggerty Road, likely through underwater channels.
You may go out someday to a riverbank that you like and see that it's kind of caved in from the erosion. The water quality's not as good.
When it comes to invasive plants, I met Kirsten Lyons along the Clinton River Spillway. She heads up the Lake St. Clair Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area, or SISMA. She's out to track and get rid of the beautiful but troublesome water hyacinth and water lettuce. They're popular in home water gardens, but when people dump those gardens in local streams or rivers,
they harm the environment because they can cause thick mats to grow on the surface of the water, and that can shade out and deplete the oxygen.
This year, she and her team landed $100 grand from the state to, among other things, survey and treat invasive species, like these free-floating invaders. Both are spotted by late August and last well into the fall, so before the season starts, Lyons is trying to boost awareness.
Once they are in bloom, where along the shoreline would they be?
They would be in slow-moving water, and you're going to find that in those areas along the shoreline. See how it's scalloped down the shoreline there?
Last year, they removed 3,000 pounds of this stuff just from the Miller Drain alone.
With the warming climate and the mild winters we've been having, we are concerned that they might be starting to overwinter.
And what would that mean for habitats here if they did?
Well, they can reproduce really quickly, so it could be very problematic for our local habitats, especially like the spillway.
You can be ticketed for improperly disposing of your water gardens or releasing invasive animals into our waterways if you're caught. And more importantly, here's how you can help. If you spot these species, you can report it. You can do so right on your smartphone with the Midwest Invasive Species Information Network, or MISIN. It's free and you can download it today in your app store. And you know, one thing I learned about all of these is it's the things that you don't think are a big deal, They really can pose a real problem. So this spring, if you are looking for the most beautiful thing in your water gardens, just keep that in mind.
And you know, people aren't doing this to be malicious. They're often just not thinking about it. So it's stories like yours that really help raise awareness and can help us get our hands around this issue.
And this is when a lot of people will be buying those things for their water gardens. So keep that out if you head to the store in the next couple weeks.